Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a luxury giant, Dior. We're going to unpack the brilliant and super risky strategy they used to basically rewrite the rulebook on how to grow.
You know, it all really comes down to this one huge question. It's the classic problem in the luxury world, right? The more you sell, the less special you feel. That whole exclusive vibe just fades away. But somehow, Dior seems to have cracked the code.
And there's actually a name for this whole phenomenon. They call it luxury gravity. The idea is simple. What goes up in sales has to come down in prestige. I mean, think about it. Most brands that get as big as Dior, they just end up watering down what made them cool to begin with. But yeah, as we're about to see, Dior just completely defied that law.
So how in the world did they pull it off? Okay, let's get into it. Because their playbook is just a masterclass in how you scale a dream without completely shattering it. It's all about this expert dance between perception and reality. It really boils down to this three-part master plan. Three big ideas that work together perfectly. 1, they got super aggressive with their pricing. 2, they turned their stores into these incredible immersive experiences. And 3, they just took over the digital world. So let's dig into each one. All right, strategy number 1, which you could call selective scarcity. The idea itself is pretty simple, but man, putting it into practice was a super bold move. What'd they do? They took their most famous, most iconic stuff and just priced it into the stratosphere, making it basically unattainable for most people. They literally turned a handbag into an investment. And the perfect example of this is the Lady Dior bag. I mean, look at this. Back in 2009, it was, a very expensive bag. Fast forward to 2026, after just years and years of these relentless price hikes, and it's a whole different story. It's a serious investment, right up there with a Chanel. And that adds up to a staggering 188% increase. Let's be clear, this is not just inflation we're talking about. No way. This is a deliberate, calculated signal to the world that this isn't just a bag anymore, it's a top-tier status symbol. So what's the big idea here? Well, it's all based on something called price signaling theory. By jacking up the prices on their classic stuff, like their leather goods, they create this halo of complete exclusivity around the brand. And that's the genius part. It lets them sell tons of more accessible things like their Sauvage perfume without making the main Dior brand feel any less elite. Okay, that brings us to the second pillar, and you can see how this all starts to connect. Dior got it. They knew if you're going to charge those kinds of prices, you can't just have a regular store. You need to offer a truly premium experience. So they completely transformed their shops from just places to buy stuff into these, cultural cathedrals. What they did was fundamentally change the whole point of a flagship store. It wasn't about the sale anymore. The focus shifted entirely to the experience, to pulling you into the world and the story of Dior. You weren't just a customer, you were an honored guest. And you can't talk about this without talking about their legendary Paris flagship, 30 Avenue Montaigne. I mean, calling it a store doesn't even do it justice. It's a full-on destination. It has a museum that people flock to, a restaurant, gardens, even a private hotel suite. The whole point is that you can just soak in the brand's history and feel the luxury, without ever having to buy a thing. And that leads us to the third and final piece of the puzzle, the digital halo. This is really where you see their incredible balancing act in action. So while they're making the actual products super exclusive and hard to get, they made the idea of Dior, the dream, accessible to absolutely everyone online. And they did it with a laser-like focus on the Asia-Pacific market. And the result of that focus? It's pretty wild. For their big fashion shows, the Asia-Pacific market is now generating almost 3/4 of all the online media buzz for the brand. That is a huge concentration of attention in one part of the world. And check out how efficient this is. Get this. During just one presentation, only 3 of their Asian ambassadors generated over $54 million in earned media value. That's basically the cash value of all the free organic buzz they created online. It's an incredible strategy for keeping Dior right at the top of the conversation for millions of young fans, building up that massive digital halo that just makes the brand even more desirable. So after all that, the big question is, did it work? Did this whole complicated 3-part plan actually pay off? Well, the numbers really speak for themselves. I mean, look at this. By 2025, the whole Christian Dior group was bringing in over $85 billion in revenue. The fashion and leather goods part alone had an insane 35% operating margin. But maybe most importantly, they were officially ranked as the single strongest luxury brand on the planet. So yeah,
The strategy worked.
But, and there's always a but, right? As anyone in business knows, this kind of crazy success can also create its own new set of problems. This whole masterclass in growth has left them with some pretty big challenges to deal with going forward.
Okay, first big question. That heavy reliance on the APAC market. With luxury demand starting to slow down in mainland China, is being so dependent on that one region a brilliant move? Or is it a really risky overexposure? I mean, what happens if that market keeps getting colder?
And the second thing is that pricing strategy. Can they really keep hiking the price of a Lady Dior bag by almost 9% every single year forever? You have to wonder, at what point do even the richest customers just say, you know what, that's enough, and switch over to brands that are more about quiet luxury, like Hermes?
So this all leads to the final, really big question we want to leave with you. When you look at all of this, what's your take on their decisions? Do you think Dior has built this totally unbeatable, sustainable fortress? Or is all this massive growth and commercial pressure starting to eat away at the very soul of what made the brand so special in the first place? We'd love to know what you think.